got realization, then why do you put this question? If I say yes, how you will understand that I am right? Therefore, you should not put all these questions. No value. You do not know yourself what is God realization. Just like a medical man, if you ask another medical man, if he says yes, then medical man will understand by technical terms. So unless one is medical man, what is the use of asking another man, are you medical man? Unless you are prepared to take the answer whatever I give. Are you prepared? Guest, yes. And Prabhupada is saying, then it is alright. I am seeing God every moment. So unless we are prepared to take the answer, we should not put ourselves. So Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrutyam Naran Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudhiraye Nashtapraye Shabadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naistiki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 9 and Text 33. Yadha Rahitam Atmanam Yadha Rahitam Atmanam Bhutendriya Gunashayai Bhutendriya Gunashayai Swarupena Mayopetam Swarupena Mayopetam Pashyan Swarajyam Ruchati Pashyan Swarajyam Uchati Yada Rahitam Atmanam Bhutendriya Gunashayai Swarupena Mayopetam Pashyan Swarajyam Ruchati. Yadha, when Rahitam, freed from Atmanam, self, Bhuta, material elements, Indriya, material senses, Guna Ashayaihi, under the influence of the material modes of nature, Swarupena, in pure existence, Maya, by me, Upeyatam, approaching, Pashyan, by seeing, Swarajyam, spiritual kingdom, Ruchati, enjoy. Translation purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swamy Prabhupada. Translation: When you are free from the conception of gross and subtle bodies, and when your senses are free from all influences of the modes of material nature, you will realize your pure form in my association. At that time, you will be situated in pure consciousness. Please repeat. When you are free from the conception of gross and subtle bodies, and when your senses are free from all influences of the modes of material nature, you will realize your pure form in my association. At that time, you will be situated in pure consciousness. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, it is said that a person whose only desire is to render transcendental loving service to the Lord is a free person in any condition of material existence. That service attitude is the Swarupa, or real form of the living entity. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the Chaitanya Charitamrita also confirms this statement by declaring that the real spiritual form of the living entity is eternal servitorship to the Supreme Lord. The Mayavadi school shudders at the thought of a service attitude in the living entity, not knowing that in the transcendental world, the service of the Lord is based on transcendental love. Transcendental loving service is never to be compared to the forced service of the material world. In the material world, even if one is under the conception that he is no one's servant, he is still the servant of his senses under the dictation of the material modes. Factually, no one is master here in the material world, and therefore the servants of the senses have a very bad experience of servitude. They shudder at the thought of service because they have no knowledge of the transcendental position. In transcendental loving service, the servitor is as free as the Lord. The Lord is Swarat, or fully independent, and the servant is also fully independent or Swarat in the spiritual atmosphere because there is no forced service. There, the transcendental loving service is due to spontaneous love. A reflected glimpse of such service is experienced in the service of the mother unto the son, the friend service unto the friend, or the wife service unto the husband. These reflections of service by friends, parents, or wives are not forced, but are due only to love. Here in this material world, however, the loving service is only a reflection. The real service, or service in Swarupa, is present in the transcendental world, in association with the Lord. The very same service in transcendental love can be practiced in devotion here. This verse is also applicable to the Jnani school. The enlightened Jnani, when free from all material contaminations, namely the gross and subtle bodies, together with the senses of the material modes of nature, is placed in the Supreme and is thus liberated from material bondage. The Jnanis and devotees are actually in agreement up to the point of liberation from material contamination. But whereas the Jnanis remain pacified on the platform of simple understanding, the devotees develop further spiritual advancement in loving service. The devotees develop a spiritual individuality in their spontaneous service attitude, which is enhanced on and on up to the point of Madhurya Rasa, a transcendental loving service reciprocated between the lover and the beloved. Dashanastha Bhaktivedanta Parpoto Madhyana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuran Militam Ena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Bhashyant Deshatarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Yadvaita Gadadhara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. So in the recent days we have seen how major tech companies are laying off their employees, sometimes in thousands. Like Google laid off about 10,000 employees in one shot. The HR executive who is sending these emails laying off the employees, he himself was laid off. He came to know that he is also no more. That's why people shudder at the concept of servitude. Servant, oh. Because any time he can be out from his employment. People, they worry. Being a servant means they're very, very worried. So that's why there is a race to become master in this world. Always you will see there is a race to become master. How I can be free from these anxieties that will push the living entity to become master? His idea is, if I can become master, then there is no fear of servitude. I can remain. Let us say I myself become an entrepreneur, a big businessman, or I myself can employ many hundreds and thousands of employees, then I can be. So once he becomes that and he sees that there are some more people who are more powerful than him, who are apparently very happy, then he thinks that that is much better. Initially they used to think I should become Adani, I should become Ambani. After Adani became problem, he got into a lot of problem. Then he is looking probably at somebody else. So like that you will see in this world everybody is in a race to become master, and they shudder at the concept of a servant. And then here when we mention that Swarupena Mayopetam, when the Shastra is saying that our Swarupa is to be a servant of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then they think, oh my God, again I am going to be a servant. After struggling so hard to come out of the influence of material nature, again I have to become a servant, and that too in the spiritual world, permanently I am a servant. Here too, okay, my karma is bad, okay, for some time I can be a servant, but later on I can become master. But looks like after I go back to spiritual world, there is no chance. The mastery is clear. He is there already. And then there is no second. Krishna is only one. There is no second. There is no supreme competitor for him. He is a supreme personality. So this is what Mayavadis, they shudder at this concept. Oh my God, after liberation, I am going to be an individual. I am going to be a personality, and that too a servant personality. This is what their worry is. So here Krishna is saying, Yada rahitam atmanam bhutendriya gunashayai. As soon as you become free from the conception of gross and subtle bodies, and your senses are free from gunashayai, the influence of the material modes, so then he'll say, Swarupena, you'll understand your pure existence as a servant. And then moment you recognize that you are a servant, then Pashyan Swarajyam Ruchati, then you will enjoy coming back to me. Swarajyam means Krishna's own kingdom, that is the spiritual world. Material world is also God's kingdom, but here God is not seen easily. This energy is like that. But in the spiritual world, the God's presence is always felt. Here also one can feel the presence of God, provided he follows a certain process. Like we are seeing in the conversation, somebody asked Prabhupada, have you seen God? Have you realized? Prabhupada is saying, yes, I am seeing God every moment. But will you believe? You don't understand what it means. So anyway, coming to this sentence, Yada rahitam atmanam bhutendriya gunashaya. The conception of gross and subtle bodies is very strong on us currently. The concept that I am this body is a very deep concept. It's a concept actually. It's not a truth. It is a concept which we have developed over many lives, and in this life we have developed this concept, but it is not truth. What is truth? It is explained in Bhagavad Gita. The truth is that we are actually spiritual in nature. We are spirit souls stuck up in these gross and subtle bodies. So some people are always driven by this gross concept, I am this body. Their only goal is to how this make this body fat and beautiful and wonderful, always decorating this gross body. This is what their life is. And then subtle bodies. Some people are not so much attached to the gross body for whatever reason. Sometimes they could be philosophers and this and that. They are not so much attached to this gross body. Some research scholars and scientists and philosophers, you will see they don't even eat or drink properly. They go on doing research and then working on the paper and this and that. And you will see such people also. They are all driven by subtle concepts. Radha Govinda ki jai. Driven by subtle concept. What is the subtle concept? This theorizing, coming up with a theory, theorem, and a concept and idea, all this is called subtle. It's a subtle body's activity, intellectual exercises. So, when somebody is driven by such concepts, then he will have a lot of theories in his head. That is, so here Krishna is saying, Yada rahitam atmanam bhuta indriya gunashayai. When you are free from both these gross and subtle conceptions. See, when we say we are not this body, we are saying we are not this gross body and we are not this subtle body. So if you zoom in a little bit into this idea, gross body's demands are eating, sleeping, mating and defending. So to be free from these pullings, this is gross pullings. And subtle body pullings are, mind has thinking, feeling and willing. So we should be free even from our own thoughts, our own emotions. Sometimes when emotions come, some negative emotion appears on the screen, inside screen. A living entity is absorbed in the screen of the chittam. Chittam is like a screen, you're watching a show. So, when there is an emotion which props up, for example, envy, sometimes devotees, a feeling of enviousness comes. Then immediately one should not think that he is envious. He only saw on the screen that some feeling is coming up. So a free man, somebody who is liberated from the mind, he will not identify, oh, now I have become envious, I have become lusty, I have become this, I have become that. How nice it is if we can be free from those emotions which comes into our system and we are free, we are not driven by all those. That's why Prabhupada is saying, somebody who is rendering transcendental loving service to the Lord is a free person. Like Prabhupada is a free man in any condition of life, any condition. Because in some conditions, some kind of emotions will come. Maybe people will become lusty. In some conditions, people will become angry. Some conditions, people will become envious. Like that, continuously we are under the influence of. What is the influence? This condition, that condition. These are all called influence of the gunashaya. Influence of the three modes of material. These modes are creating continuously various situations for the living entity based on its own destiny. The time, destiny and material nature. These three work together and create various situations for the living entity. And they see how in each and every condition the living entity responds. Sometimes in the certain influence, somebody in a fit of rage, he may kill somebody. See, one should not underestimate these influences, gunashayai, material modes of nature. And then when somebody commits like that, unfortunately he becomes, karma bandhana will come. His own karma will bind him. Like yesterday, we did our first ever prison preaching program in Charlapalli prison. Yesterday, our devotees went and he preached there. Many of them are doctors, some of them are scientists, some of them are researchers. I was thinking Charlapalli means all pickpockets, maybe small thieves. No, unfortunately, all these qualified people are there. So, our education is not able to save us. Whatever that doctor or engineer or research or scientist, it is not able to save. Our education is not able to save us to be free in our life. It requires a different education. Yada rahitam atmanam. So this education is different. So unfortunately, I was surprised when our devotees were telling like that. Highly qualified. Unfortunate, poor guys. In a momentary action. How that momentary action came? That emotion is able to force him to do that. The same question Arjuna asks in Bhagavad Gita. He asked this question. What is that which is forcing me to do these sinful activities? What that was? Third chapter. It's a very relevant question for us. Because that is 6. Yeah, Arjuna is asking, Atakena prayoktoyam papam charati purushaha anichanapi varshneya baladivaniojita. O descendant of Vrishni, by what is one is impelled to sinful acts, even unwillingly, as if engaged by force. What is forcing these people? Anichanapi, although they do not want. Do not want means, if they do not want, why are they doing? See, there is a dichotomy inside. Anichanapi, actually they do not want to. What is the meaning of in their normal condition? In their normal condition, when their intelligence is bright, when their consciousness is bright, actually anichan, they do not want. But baladiva niyojitaha, as if somebody is pressurizing him, do it. Yes. Immediately Krishna says, kama esha krodha esha rajoguna samudbhavaha. So freedom from subtle body is not easy. Freedom from gross body to a certain extent, okay, because a lot of, say, health issues and this and that, you automatically you will reduce your, all those things, requirements will come down. But if it is not easy to be free from this mental pressures or subtle body pressures, I would say. Okay, mind is thinking and feeling. That feelings, these emotions are feelings. They push the body, they push the person. Then comes intellectual. Intellectual craving is clarity. He wants clarity everywhere. This clarity, that clarity. So that craving also sometimes pushes them. And then ego. Ego is about desires, personality, desires, strong desires to become master. So these are the influences. Then Krishna is saying Indriya Gunashaya. Then senses also will come under. So this Swarupa, the servitude, gets slowly diverted towards servitude of the society, servitude of the nation, servitude of various other designations. So here in this material world, the Swarupena gets designated. This is called covering. You have a ability to serve and you are a servant, but the object becomes different. Nationality or humanity, like that there are so many isms are there. Nationalism, humanism, manism, feminism, this ism, that ism. Like that you will see so many designations are haunting us. When the Ukraine and Russian war erupted, one of the reasons that they are saying that the war has come is because of the nationality identity, nationalism. My nation, my nation. And my nation, I want to be superior nation than your nation. This is a fight. So when our Swarupa gets designated, then you will see so many challenges here. So anyway, so Prabhupada is saying service attitude. Very, very important concept is. Our original Swarupa is to be a servant of the Supreme Lord. If that is there, that attitude to serve Krishna is there, then everything will come automatically. Once Vice Chancellor of Banaras Hindu University, he gets a philosophical question, and according to him it is an earth-shattering question, a very important question, and he considers this as a Vedanta. Actually, people take pride in asking questions in Vedanta. I am able to ask a question in Vedanta like that. So he gets such a big question, and then he thinks that okay, to answer this, he should be of a very high status. So he approaches Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. He says, and then he goes to him and says, Swamiji, I have a question on Vedanta. Can you please answer this? Since he is a big man, of course he's been allowed to ask that question and then speak to Bhaktisiddhanta. And then Bhaktisiddhanta, very kind, he heard the whole thing. And then he said, see, look, before I answer, my disciples are there. You first go and ask them this question. He was a little hesitant, I am a big man, I am a vice chancellor, and I got a big question. And then, so he was hesitant to go to the disciples. But then Bhaktisiddhanta says that, no, you please approach my disciples. First you talk to them. Because he insisted, the vice chancellor approaches the disciples. The disciples are busy washing pots. They're all washing pots. They're busy with that. So this Vice Chancellor, hesitatingly, he goes and approaches them and says, so look, I have a question on Vedanta. I approached your Guru, and then he is saying, you please approach you. So that's how I came to you. So the disciples are little surprised that, Guru has sent this Vice Chancellor to us. Then they said, sir, we are busy washing pots. We have no time to answer your question. So can you help me? Can you help us in washing pots and then complete this work so that we are free? Vice Chancellor was little upset. I am such a big Vice Chancellor of a big university. I am supposed to wash pots now. He was very, but then anyway, he's a nice man, so he washed the pots along with the disciples. He completed the pot washing and everything, and in the end the disciples asked, okay, what is your question? Then that Vice Chancellor said, already I have got my answers. And then he goes to Bhaktisiddhanta. Bhaktisiddhanta says, do you have any further questions? He says, no. What exactly happened is, by rendering service, washing pots is a powerful service to Krishna. By rendering service to Krishna, the Vedanta question got clarified. How is that? Because Bhagavad Gita says, ultimate goal of Vedanta is Krishna's service. Vedesya sarvair ahameva vedyaha. After reading entire Vedanta, after clarifying all the questions of Vedanta, what are you supposed to do? You are supposed to do Krishna's service. That's all. So since you are already engaged in the service of Krishna, whole Vedanta, all the questions, everything clarified. It's a reality. That's why some people come with big, complex philosophical questions. What you have to do is engage him in some service. He gets clarity. So this is the easy way. So here, then you may say, yes Prabhu, this Mayavadis, what they are saying is correct. How can I be servant? I thought after getting liberated and I go to Krishna, I will be free from this servitude. Actually, Prabhupada is saying, you don't know what is meant by to be a servant in the transcendental, Swarajyam. In the Krishna's world, servants are as independent as Master, Krishna. Here it is mentioned, Krishna is Swarat and his servant is also Swarat. Servant is as opulent as Master. He is on an equal platform. And then if the servant is Swarat, then he can say, no, I will not serve today. Yes, you can say, you are Swarat. You can say. But then why they do service then? Because they love Krishna. The things are driven by love. He loves Krishna so much. Without even asking, he is ready. He is present there. There are no service lists and then calls and SMS messages. Hey, Haribol, come, no. First class servant means he knows the mind of Krishna. And then immediately he is there. So all the first class servants who develop a love for Krishna, they will all go to Swarajya. And then they are as powerful. And if the servant decides, this jiva should go back to Godhead, Krishna cannot say no. Krishna cannot say no. So if Prabhupada will say that this boy has served me, so Krishna he has to win. Krishna cannot say no. So that is our only hope. Somehow Prabhupada should be pleased. If Prabhupada says, yes, this boy has done some service and I have accepted. Once one devotee, Vayasaki Prabhu, he was recollecting this pastime. One of the god brothers of Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, god brother, Tiddu Goswami. I think Tiddu Goswami, I think. I forgot the exact name. So, Tiddu Vilas, he passes away. His god brother passes away. So then Prabhupada hears that news and he says, oh, he is no more. And then he says, he has gone back to Godhead. Then this devotee gets surprised. Prabhupada, he is the one who created a lot of troubles in Gaudiya Math. He is the one who has created these lawsuits. He is the one who has given so much of trouble to Bhakti Siddhanta. Even today there are so many factions are there in Gaudiya Math fighting with each other. And he is the cause of all these things. And then now he has passed away. And then you are saying he has gone back to Godhead? Prabhupada says, yes. Because my Guru Maharaj, Bhakti Siddhanta, accepted his service. Whatever service portion is there, he's created a lot of other troubles. But whatever service is there, Bhakti Siddhanta accepted. And Prabhupada says, since my Guru accepted his service, he has gone back to Krishna. So this is our hope. We should nicely render our services. And Prabhupada certainly will accept out of love whatever devotees are serving. If Prabhupada accepts, and then it is done. Any questions? Yeah. Of course, that doesn't mean that we should create a lot of troubles. Our organization should be run on the basis of love, not on pressure tactics and other tactics.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yeah.
So this is regarding Prabhupada's god brother going back to Godhead. So it is said that Bhaktivedanta Maharaj accepted. So whatever service done by his god brother, so he went back to Godhead. But he also did some disservice. There must be some punishment, no Prabhu. Like if it is small mistake, that is other case. But creating lawsuits, that is creating a very big hindrance for functioning of the movement. So whether there won't be any punishment.
That automatically he will be purified. Whatever he has to go through, that will be taken care. In the sense, Guru mercifully washes off his all those, whatever he has done, those disturbances, and takes him back to Krishna. How that exactly happens, that is between him and Guru and Krishna. Whatever troubles they may create, ultimately it is Guru's responsibility to take all the disciples back to Godhead, Swarajyam. So, for Prabhupada also, this is a big task. His responsibility is that all his disciples, those who are creating trouble and those who are obedient, he has to take them back. Somebody goes little late, somebody goes little faster. But if you serve in genuineness, in earnestness, and then Guru has recognized that service and is accepting, you are very fortunate. That will help you in washing up the troubles that you created. That's why nobody should do all these things deliberately. We should not think, oh no, okay, these people will not move unless I put pressure, I create trouble. No. And no one should not think like that. So with love and trust, whatever, so if there is a genuine philosophical problem, and then there is all such things are there, yes, slowly Prabhupada will purify them and then takes everybody back. For Prabhupada's disciples, if they are sincere, go on rendering services. Prabhupada says within one life they can go back. If somebody is little lagging behind, two. Somewhere in one memory, somebody is mentioning That maximum 3. That's all. So if somebody comes in touch with Prabhupada, renders genuine service to him, then his material life is getting finished. They'll go back to Krishna. So your only goal should be how I can remain in Krishna's service. How, while doing that service, I can do it with love. There are two things here. One is to do service, and second is, while doing that, how I can do with great devotion, great feeling. Like you're washing plate. That's good. Very neatly. While doing that, you also think it is Krishna. Krishna is going to see this plate. From this, all the food will be taken by him. So it should be very nice. There is a feeling. There is an understanding. Such Supreme Lord, He is going to see this plate. So let me do it nicely. See, what is driving is that feeling that, okay, Lord is accepting this. These are the combinations of these two. Consciousness should be there while doing our service. And that consciousness should be Krishna consciousness. Okay, so, but whatever, whether forced or loving or whatever, the service that you do to Krishna, that will remain permanently. It will only go on building up and building up. One day, we'll get that opportunity to go back to Swarajyam. Krishna's abode. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam.